My name is Brian. I'm the Public Safety Supervisor for the City of Temple City. And first of all, I want to say thank you to everybody for coming out. This program isn't possible without your participation and your involvement in what we do here. So I want to say thank you up front. This is our third year of doing the Neighborhood Watch meetings, and it's been successful in the third 3 years. We've modified the program year after year based on input from the community, as well as our presentation is changing, so you're not going to get the same thing every year. Tonight, we're going to have a presentation on community preservation, which is code enforcement and emergency preparedness, and also our deputy city clerk will be coming up shortly to talk about voter registration. And I just want to say this program, we don't have any of the council members here tonight, but it's with the support of the council that we're able to provide the services as well. So when you just see the council members, maybe thank them for being able to provide and letting us provide the service to you guys. So at this time, I'm going to call up Marilyn Bonus, who is our deputy city clerk.
Hi there, good afternoon. How many of you guys are vote by mail? Okay, a few of you. How many of you guys want to be vote by mail? No one? Okay, well, I'm here to actually help you guys update your registration forms. A lot of you guys haven't been here. I guess a lot of you guys have registered maybe 20, 30 years ago, in some cases 10 years ago. Your signatures are probably updated. So one of the reasons why we're here is to help you update that signature. Now I'm also here to kind of push a little about vote by mail. There's some advantages to that. One of them is that if you're going out of town, it's still, you know, a civic duty to go ahead and register to vote and use it to vote, right? How many of you guys like your council members or like the policies that are being passed today? Okay, well, that's your time to really vote. I mean, it's your time to vote and choose who you want to be seated in those seats. There are 3 seats up for election this year. So if you guys have any questions as far as registering to vote, how to register to vote by mail, or even if you guys want to try it out just this election, you guys are more than welcome to do that. I do have permanent vote by mail applications. They're not really permanent. You could still change it next election. And then we also have temporary vote by mail. So just come by and visit me and I'll be there to help you guys out, okay? Any questions? No? Okay.
Hi guys, thanks for coming out tonight. Sorry, am I too loud? Good, a little bit. Okay, I'm one of the community preservation officers for the City of Temple City. I will be doing the community preservation PowerPoint, just real short, just to give you an idea of how community preservation and crime are linked together. Okay, so let's start. I'll stand over here so you guys can see the screen. Okay, so before we begin, we're going to just do a brief intro of how, or a recap from the last 2 years of Neighborhood Watch. In 2012, we transitioned from code enforcement to community preservation. We implemented phase, which is focus area systematic enforcement with courtesy door hangers. In 2013, last year, we did introduce step 10, which is crime prevention through environmental design. And we explained the different step 10 methods and how these are related to criminal behavior. So this year we're going to be doing something a little bit different. In 1982 there was an article that came out in the Atlantic Monthly called Broken Windows. Has any of you heard of the broken windows theory? A few of you. Wendy has, or Lucy has, because she was here for the last Neighborhood Watch presentation. But basically it's an idea, a theory that outlined the nature of how crime spreads in our communities. And it was used in the 1990s in an effort to deter it and prevent crime. And it was written by James Wilson and George Kelly. So to give you an idea of what this theory is, consider an abandoned building. This building just sits there, deteriorating. Paint starts peeling, weeds start to grow. No one cares about this building. Pretty soon someone comes by, sees that no one cares, that no one's properly maintaining this, picks up a rock, breaks a window. One window leads to 2, 2 windows leads to 3. Pretty soon someone may break into the building. Squatters take up residence, they start lighting fires to stay warm. People start doing drugs inside this building. So what this one building has done is create fear. Pretty soon, chaos ensues. So that's what we want to prevent. It's a snowball effect. So if you fix those small things, you deter the big things. And that's what community preservation does. We fix the small things, such as broken windows, overgrown vegetation, abandoned vehicles, unsecured and abandoned properties. And we even have a vacant property registration that holds the owner responsible. So this is where the city can help, where city residents such as yourself can help, because the city's home to over 12,000 residential dwellings, and that's not including commercial properties. So you can call, email, or even come in person and notify us. So city streets, the residents won't look like this. Walls that are filled with graffiti. Or houses that look like this, that are abandoned, that are unmaintained. Or when you drive down an alley, you won't see inoperable, abandoned vehicles filled with graffiti. Does anyone know where this is? Alpha Beta, behind the 99-cent store. That's the vacant lot that's directly behind them. Did anyone know there's a basement underneath that lot? Mary does. A lot of people didn't know this, but that basement extends throughout the entire lot of Alpha Beta. Not a lot of people know that. So this is how it was found. The gate was open. You can see graffiti is down there. People have obviously been down there. That's how we found it, unsecured and unsafe. So to give you a better idea of what the broken windows theory is, this is actually a perfect example of this theory in action. You have one couch that's been dumped in an alley, just left and forgotten. So the weeks go by, it turns into that. One couch turns into two, turns into a Christmas tree, turns into other junk, trash, debris that's just disposed of, that people don't care about. And that's what we don't want. And that's why it takes Temple City residents, it takes the sheriffs, it takes city staff such as myself to prevent this from happening. Because preventing crime, it does involve everyone. Because we want those higher property values. We want that quality of life, the desired area in which to live and raise our kids, safe communities and safe schools and clean streets. Again, if you fix those small things, we deter the big things. So areas like this that are forgotten, just left unsecure, are now secured and safe. Or houses like this that are deteriorating and that are unmaintained, unsightly, that have fire damage in the rear, unsecured, now look like this. Because wouldn't you rather live next to someone like this than like that? Because I know I would rather live next to this. So please, if you have any questions, concerns, if you'd like to talk to one of city staff, such as myself or any other community preservation officers, call us, notify us by mail, phone, or just come into City Hall. Thank you. I'm going to pass it over to Brian.
Yesterday was Jillian's birthday. Can we all say happy birthday to Jillian? Happy birthday! I have to make up for it since she didn't work yesterday, and I kind of forgot about it. Yeah, we got her today. Brian, thanks for the mic. Alright, you got that up. So tonight we're going to be talking about emergency preparedness. You guys want to hear me pretty well?
Yes. Who are you?
I'm Jonathan. Most of you don't know me, I'm Jonathan, I work for Temple City, one of the community preservation officers, or AKA code enforcement as well. So like I said, we're here to talk about emergency preparedness. I'm going to try to get out of the way a little bit. I know I cover up a lot of the screen, so here we go. There you go. So what is emergency preparedness? The slide behind me asks that question. And it's basically an organization such as the city or yourselves being prepared or taking a preventative measure for a disastrous situation. Pretty technical, but the question itself kind of explains what it is. What is emergency preparedness? It's being prepared for an emergency. Pretty simple. I want to talk about earthquakes. Why? Because as you're all aware, California, we live in earthquake country. We just had one not too long ago, a couple weeks ago in La Habra. And so the screen behind me shows 7 steps that you all can take to be better prepared for an earthquake. The first one's going to be to identify or fix any potential hazards at your property. So when I say potential hazards, what I'm talking about is, say you have a bookcase. If that bookcase isn't strapped, that's a potential hazard. One way you can mitigate that is to strap it. Or if you have a vase. If if it goes on the ground, it's going to break, it's going to be glass, that could be dangerous. So what can you do? They have earthquake putty that you can put underneath those vases to reinforce them so that if it does shake, it's not going to fall over. Or say your kitchen. Your kitchen has a lot of glassware, the cabinets, correct? Well, those doors can actually act as a way so that your glass doesn't, or your plates don't go to the ground, break, and so that you could save them. And you can fix that or remedy or mitigate that problem by simply putting child protective locks. They're like little hooks. I don't know if you guys all seen them at Home Depot. Fairly inexpensive. Most of the time you wouldn't put them or use them for the upper cabinets, but they're used for children. But up here you want to have them so that, because that's where you mostly keep all your glassware and stuff like that. So the next one is to create a disaster preparedness plan and create a disaster supply kit. Later on the slides, I'll go into a little more detail about that. But basically is, once again, the title kind of hints to what that's about. So it's a disaster preparedness plan. You're going to answer questions such as, where do we meet in case of a disaster? When the earthquake hit a couple weeks ago in La Habra, it was a Friday night. Do you have kids that are in sports? Are they away from you? Are they at the movies? If you can't get to them. Questions like that you want to start asking yourself. And if you answer those questions, or you ask yourself those questions, it's going to help to formulate your plan. Disaster supply kit. What's in your tool bag in case a disaster does hit? For some of us, it may be medication. Extra set of glasses. It's going to vary from house to house depending on what your needs are. Identify and fix your building's potential weakness. Now, this is very similar to number one, but here we're talking about non-structural issues. Here we're talking about structural issues. It's the building. If you have an unreinforced masonry wall or something of that nature, a fireplace if it's not reinforced, that's what that's going to identify. The package that were handed out to you guys, these right here, they go in great detail. I'm just really skimming through it, but this is a great source. Please don't just toss this or leave it on the kitchen table when you get home. Go through it. It's valuable information. Number 5, protect yourself during an earthquake. What do? You drop, cover, and hold on. So this would be a good table to duck under in case there was an earthquake here. And then after an earthquake, you check for injuries and you check for any damage to your house. Do you smell gas? Do you see a broken gas line? You go and shut off the gas. How many people know where the gas meter is? Question is, don't you need a tool to shut it off? Unless you're like super duper strong, yeah, you're gonna need a tool. And plus that, you have oh, okay, the guy over there showing me the guns. He's super duper strong. One of the deputies, Deputy Alvarez.
Yeah, make sure you know it's Rob and not me.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the one sitting down. It's the good looking one.
I'm the younger one, brother shitty. Next job.
And then, when safe, continue to follow your disaster preparedness plan. So moving on, how is the city prepared? Well, number one, we're prepared because staff, sheriffs, the fire department, your first responders, they're trained for these types of situations. Now, I mean, we have it at the way bottom, but I think it should be at the top because it starts with your responders. So training. We have an emergency operations plan. We have an emergency operations center, also known as an EOC. We have a hazard mitigation plan. So the city has done its part to prepare itself to be able to provide a response in case there is some type of disaster, like the windstorm or possibly an earthquake. So this is a video that I like to play because it's going to lead into the next discussion. Do you have to hit play or can I hit it? I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, he wants the mic.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what? I'll have the dead batteries. Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
Get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, but it probably won't work.
Right.
And who's going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list of files.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
So for many of us who couldn't hear that, because I'm standing right here and I can't hear the video myself, I know what they're talking about because I've seen it so many times, but what it just stated kind of puts everything in a nutshell of that video. Winging it is not an option. So once again, it's an emergency plan. You want to plan, you want to be prepared. It's not after the fact that an emergency happens that you're going to respond. So that's basically the gist of that video, preparing yourself with a plan. Okay, so now that I talked about the city, I want to start talking about ways that you guys, the residents, can start preparing in case there is some type of disaster. This right here is simply an outline of the next slide that we're going to discuss. We're going to talk about developing a disaster plan. We're going to talk about disaster supply kits, hazard mitigation, and just like staff does training, how you guys can get training. So developing a disaster plan. Once again, going back to those essential questions that you want to ask yourself. You know, do I have an out-of-state contact? Where are my family members going to meet? Because what if, like most families, your kids are away, you're separated from them. How do you get a hold of them? Cell phones are going to be down. So these are just simply some questions, but once again, refer to your packet because it has tons of good information. That disaster plan is going to have an escape plan or an evacuation plan from your house. As you can see behind me, it has alternatives. For example, my house is a 2-story house. The most common way I'm going to leave is going down the stairs, but what if I cannot go out from those stairs or using that staircase? I do have an emergency escape ladder that I can toss out the window and go out that way. So that's part of my disaster preparedness plan. Now, moving on with disaster supply kits. Now, this is the rule of threes. You want to have a disaster supply kit at your house, at work, and in your car. Suppose you're in your car and you don't have a supply kit. As you're driving, a disaster occurs, an earthquake. That's why you need to have one in your car, because if something happens when you're on the road, you're not going to have your kit with you. You can't, let me run to my house and get it. Let me run to work and get it. And vice versa. Suppose I don't have a disaster kit in my car, but I'm at work. Like most of us go to work and most of the time we're at work. For whatever reason, suppose a tree falls on the car, now you can't access your car. So how do you get your supply kit? What if you park in a parking structure? How do you get your supply kit now? What if you can't leave the building? And that's why it's the rule of three. One in your car, one in your house, and one at work. Also, 3 days. You gotta have a minimum, and these are just minimum standards. 3 days worth of supply per individual, okay? And then the 3 categories would be water, food, and utility. Water or food, you're looking at non-perishable items, things that you can store for a long period of time, so canned foods, MREs, or meals ready to eat. You want to consider also alternative types of food. If I live with my grandmother, I know she's diabetic. I can't have certain foods in that disaster kit, so kind of want to think about that. Water, the rule is 1 gallon per person per day. Utility items, these are your tools, cash at hand, because if you're like most of us, will probably just use your credit card or ATM card or debit card. There you go, that's the word I was looking for. If you just use your debit card, suppose the person that you're trying to purchase something, because the system's down, how are you going to use your credit card or your debit card? Blankets, glasses, and some comfort items, books, video games for your kids. Like I said, different families have different needs, and so that's going to dictate what type of items you put in your disaster preparedness kit. So moving on to hazardous mitigation. Basically, it's an activity that prevents an emergency or reduces its hazard. So we're going to talk about non-structural hazards really quickly. Like I explained earlier, if you had a bookcase, you would anchor it. If you have a water heater, is it strapped? Like this one right here. Actually, the California Building Code requires that water heaters, I think since like 2012, earlier than that, have to be strapped. Lastly, I want to talk about training. I want to talk about an opportunity if you don't feel comfortable in the skills that you have, or if you want to learn more, we have the Community Emergency Response Team, which is CERT. It's a 20-hour basic training course that's going to talk about, number one, emergency preparedness. It's going to talk about fire suppression, medical, how to do splints. I'm talking a little bit about emergency preparedness, but just to give you an idea, the first module in CERT, which is emergency preparedness, it's a 2.5-hour course. And I'm just talking, this is like 10 minutes that I'm spending with you guys tonight. So just to give you an idea, there's a ton of material to cover. So I urge you, we have one scheduled tentatively for sometime in June. We do have a sign-up list in the back. And it's for everyone. Well, I'll take that back. We're not taking teams right now, correct? Teams, it's not for everyone. We are going to work on, okay, we're going to develop a team program as well. But CERT, there's a position for everyone in CERT. So if you're afraid that you're not able to do a certain task, don't worry, we can always find something for you. Also, by taking the CERT course, you're eligible to apply for the Temple City CERT team, which is an advanced CERT team. We're developing that as well. But if anything, if you guys just come to the training, you get more information, you get a certificate when it's actually approved by FEMA. As long as you guys start taking the steps to realize what the potential is, because with the windstorm, there's people that didn't have power for a week. You know, so, okay, this must have been one of the heavier affected areas. So, I think for me, the main thing is to just make sure that it kind of ignites some type of flame or fire, some kind of desire to want to make sure that you take care of your family, and then yourself and your family. And then after that, maybe your neighbors, your loved ones. But if we can instill that in all of you guys, then that helps with the first responders, because we don't have to worry that, hey, at such and such address, we need to go and check if they're okay, because we already know that they're neighbors, or we already know that they've taken their CERT class, they've prepared for a disaster, they prepared for staff might not respond for 3 days. 10 days. Okay, so CERT, it's actually pretty fun, it's really cool. Besides all the information, all the book information that you're going to get, you do a lot of hands-on activity. How many of you have used a fire hydrant before? I'm sorry, fire extinguisher. I haven't had the tacos yet. But he's on point, and I'm testing him. I want to make sure he's on point. Fire hydrant. Fire extinguisher. He raised his hand. You know, I don't have one to show you guys, but they're about maybe 10, 15 pounds, depending on the size. And when I first saw one, I was a little intimidated, because the way it's designed to handle it, if I grab it, you feel that you're going to squeeze and it's going to start, putting out. But there's actually a safety pin, and the handle where you lift, it's actually the proper way to lift, and you squeeze kind of from the top. But it just gives you that comfort, that confidence, knowing that if there is a fire, I can run to the fire extinguisher, pull it out, pull the pin, pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. So you'll learn you'll actually use one. As you can see, that's the fire pan. Let's see how this works, right there. There's a cribbing technique. They're just using leverage and blocks to lift a heavy object. And once again, over here, this is just a simulation at the very end. That's where it wraps up. The information that you get is great, but it's also very fun. You're doing a lot of hands-on activity, and it's for everyone. Everyone is welcome.
Yeah, if you have questions about it, we'll be available to answer that. But I have probably about a handful of people in this room today that have attended the classes. So not taking our perspective as city employees and as instructors, but from a resident perspective and being involved in the program, they'll be more than welcome and more than happy, I'm sure, to let you know about the program. And if they want to identify themselves, we can go through that. We have Martin in the back, Lucy's gone through it, Janice has gone through it, Marilyn has gone through it, Mary's gone through it. Again, Mary was actually one of our classes.
Stand up, Mary.
Today's her birthday.
Hey, happy birthday, Mary.
As Jonathan mentioned, there's a role for everybody in CERT. Mary graduated from a CERT class 2 weeks prior to our windstorm in 2011. And so we were able to call some of those graduates because we didn't have an advanced team set up yet. But she came down and she was assisting us at City Hall, giving out information, handing out water, just talking to residents as they came up, and being that relief that someone could just come up and talk to someone at City Hall. So being in CERT doesn't have to be physical and arduous. It could be something that you're doing administrative duties. There's a role for everybody in CERT. And like Jonathan said, don't take it to be part of a larger city team. Take it for your own personal well-being and being able to know what to do to take care of yourself and your family.
Thank you, Brian. Some additional resources that you can go online to, FEMA.gov, redcross.org, ready.gov, shakeout.org/California. Like I said, these resources are in the package. And then
these are the websites that, again, that I as an emergency manager and city staff, even the state of California, everybody uses these websites as resources. And so these aren't just something that people are going to put out there. They're good locations for a lot of information. A lot of what's in these packets I actually got from some of these websites.
I thought you developed it all on your own.
I did.
Okay, so Nixle is a great source for the organization, our city organization, for public safety information. How many of you have signed up for Nixle? Okay, one hand, I see about 5. It's not very hard. Did you guys use your cell phone? Go online? Well, you can use your cell phone by a simple text. You text TC Crime Watch to 888-777. You send that text message and you're signed up, so when we send out a notice, you're gonna get it on your phone or you have the option of getting it in an email. And it only takes about 15 seconds if you do it on your phone. I did it today.
Also, you can sign up to receive city alerts, not specifically to Neighborhood Watch or Crime Watch. If you text your zip code 91780 to the same number. And this is great. It works for anywhere. If you live in Temple City but you work in Riverside, you can sign up to receive the Riverside Nixle alerts, and so you know what's going on in your work community as well as your home community. If you have family up in Northern California and an agency up there has it, you can receive the alerts from them as well.
So just want to, once again, thank you all for coming. You guys obviously show an interest in the community, and I want to encourage you all to sign up for that CERT class. Thank you. It's in the back. The sign-up list will be back here at the end of the class or the end of the meeting.
And if anybody hasn't signed up when you walked in, if we haven't gotten to you, can you please make sure you sign up for the Neighborhood Watch before you leave? Thank you.
The fire hydrant. What was I thinking? I said it twice.
All right, so we have Lieutenant Mark Stevens with us. He's with our Cybercrimes unit for the Sheriff's Department, and he's got a really great presentation for you, okay? By the time he's finished, you're going to want to get rid of your cell phones. You're not going to want to use your debit card anymore.
Not before you sign up for Nixle. Sign up for Nixle.
Yes, sign up for Nixle first. Of course, you're not going to be able to, it's not going to do you good, which you throw the phone away anyway, but.
Email.
But he's just got to get something set up real quick. He's got a video that he found that is pretty amazing, and this is the first time we're actually going to see it, so. We're just going to give him a couple minutes.
And while Tennessee was taking care of that, I'll handle a couple other issues. Up front here we have a new neighborhood watch signs, and we're installing them citywide. And the way we're implementing them is we're trying to have them installed near the date of the meeting. And so our crew may be a little bit behind because we have an aggressive workload on installing some other signs. But the goal is to have the neighborhood watch signs installed in strategic areas. So it's not going to be on every street. We identified a few streets that are going to be leading into your neighborhood area that'll be passing through. So for the most part, you'll see a sign within your neighborhood, but it may not be on your specific street. And that is because we're implementing it citywide. The old programs, we had a neighborhood watch program that was block specific, and that's why the old programs had signs on specific individual smaller streets. Also, what I have up here, and we'll pass it out a little bit later, is evaluation forms. These evaluation forms are very critical for us. It lets us know what we're doing good, what we're not doing good, and what we can improve on. Be brutally honest, critique us. It's the way that we make this program better. If everybody says the program is great and it's all flowers and candy, then we're not going to improve it. But if we have ideas that we didn't think of or ways that we can improve it, we want to hear about it. And so please make sure you fill them out. After you fill out the evaluation form and turn it in, we do have a raffle. So you turn in your evaluation, you get a raffle ticket. And we have a few certificates to McDonald's for burger and fries.
And if you like it, use my name, Rick Adams. If you don't like it, and you're unhappy about something we did tonight, Brian Arizumi. Just so you know. No, I'm just kidding. Brian's great, so.
At least we're being honest, right?
Hey, Mark, if you need a couple minutes, we can pass out the evals.
Yeah, you guys pass them out. It's going to be about another minute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, just put good stuff now and then wait if there's bad stuff to get added later. Yeah, good point. Okay, so just so you guys know while we're waiting too, make sure that if you're not getting weekly notifications, the crime blotter, that you sign up. Most of you already have with Martin and Lucy. And what we need is your name, address, email address, and phone number. We really need an email address because we're not going to mail out these crime blotters every week. We can't afford to. But what those are, they're basically all the crimes that are occurring within Temple City the week before. So it gives you a really good idea about what's going on. And then in your packets, my partners are going to come up and do the PowerPoint of our presentation when Lieutenant Stevens is finished. But in our packets, they may or may not touch on it. You've got your area, which is area 4, and you can see the key down there where it's got the homes. Those are all the residential burglaries that occurred in your area alone in the last 6 months. And we're going to talk about all that, the crime trends, things that we're seeing, things that you need to be aware of. And a lot of the information we have for you also is in the packets. You know, how to keep your house safe, personal safety. You know, a number of things, topics we've talked about in the past, and topics we're going to talk about tonight. Most of that information is in your handouts for you as well, just so you all know. All right, you ready, boss? We're good to go. Okay, Lieutenant Mark Stevens, Cybercrimes Unit from Sheriff's Department. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Everybody can hear me back there, right? I don't need a microphone. Probably hear me better than you could if I was using the microphone. In the academy, they called that our big deputy voice. In public speaking, they call it a good, strong public speaking voice. My wife calls it something else. My name's Mark Stevens. I'm a lieutenant with our Fraud and Cybercrime Bureau, attached to the Southern California High-Tech Task Force. It's a partially state-funded, multi-jurisdictional task force on cybercrime, identity theft, those types of crimes. What I want to talk to you about tonight is about identity theft and cybercrime, and in particular, let you know about some things that are going on right now with smartphones. I've been with the department 32 years. I've been a lieutenant for 7. I've been at the unit that I'm working now for almost 3. I served as the project director for the Southern California High-Tech Task Force for almost 2 years. This is a phenomenal subject. It's extremely interesting. It's a little bit scary. I want to give you a little warning. Some of the things I say may scare you a little bit, but I'm going to try to give you some tools and rules to take with you so that you can help better protect yourself, your family, your friends, your businesses, and so forth from becoming a victim in the first place, because that's really the only way that we're going to be able to deal with this problem right now. The technology is going so fast. It's taken off. Every day we see new products. I mean, you know, how many new smartphones have you seen just the last 18 months? Right? Samsung, Apple, they're all coming up with brand new ones all the time. The Galaxy S5 just came out. At least that's what I saw on the Verizon splash page today. And you know, when I get up in the morning, I get up early. My wife complains because I'm on the computer, right? Well, you know, I'm reading, I'm checking what's going on, and so on. There's a lot of things that are going on right now. The technology is moving far faster than the security. The security companies and software companies that are writing the security programs can't keep up with the new technology. We in law enforcement to investigate this. I mean, just think what the cost is, and just the training issues alone. For our investigators to be up to date on the most current security software, the forensic software, the network analysis software, all things that we need to do to be able to track what happened in a crime, preserve the evidence in a manner that a court will accept it, right? That a judge is going to allow it to happen, and the time that gets involved in that. It's a constant, ever-growing problem. It costs a lot of money, and guess how much we're getting for it? All right, it's very little. And it's going to take some federal and state legislation to correct that. And you know, when you see that state legislation, pay attention to our cyber newsletter, which I'll tell you how to get on. I believe they're forwarding it to you if you're on the Area Watch email list. But if you want to be signed up for it, I'm going to tell you how to get I'll send it to you directly. In addition to this technological boom, you also have an explosion in the number of devices on the street. I was at a Cybercrime conference just last year. They were giving us numbers for 2011, 2012, and it was estimated there's 2.5 billion mobile devices on the street. You think the crooks are using them? Yes. Okay? They're using to plan crime, execute crime, and they're using it to dispose of the fruits of their crime through internet sites, auction sites, Craigslist, those types of sites. And a lot of stolen property gets stolen. That it's being sold that way. It's a problem. So we've got this rapid technology, a whole bunch of stuff on the streets, and so we're seeing this rapid increase in cybercrime and cyber-related crimes. These are the types of crimes that we particularly pay attention to. The intrusions, that's a hacking getting into the computers. We talk a lot about identity theft, which has been a problem for a long time, and there's some good laws on the books now regarding identity theft. Credit card skimmers, that kind of thing. Corporate espionage, intellectual property theft. A lot of people think of intellectual property as being Hollywood, the music industry, but what about an aerospace company that spent millions of dollars over 3 years in R&D, only to have that information stolen and sold to a company in another country? That doesn't just hurt the employees, it doesn't just hurt the company, but it hurts the United States economy, because now that product, if it gets to market first by this other company, they're going to get the jump on it, and we're losing that revenue. Okay, so this is an international problem, but it has national, United States, and local government, our local area effects as well, and much of it's financial. Medical identity theft, real quick. All of our medical records are digitized now. It's a phenomenal, and the medical industry does a very good job of protecting our records. They have to, right? HIPAA. If you don't know what that is, you can Google it, because I don't have time to explain it. But our medical records they're as safe as they probably can be. I hear more about government websites being hacked into than I do about medical records being hacked. So it kind of makes you wonder, well, maybe the medical industry's got something up on the government. But the problem with having them digitized, though, is that if somebody gets a hold of your information and goes and gets medical treatment under your name, your medical record is being changed. So you could have listings of allergies to medications that you don't have, which would prevent a doctor from being able to give you something. They could report that they're taking a medication that you're not taking, which could create a drug interaction problem that they wanted to give you. You see where I'm going with that? Tools and rules, right? I don't want to just scare you, I want to tell you what you can do about it. Contact your insurance company a couple of years and ask them for a list of all claims. And if you see a claim there that doesn't belong to you, call them back, ask for the date, the doctors, and all the information that you need. Call that doctor's office and find out what happened. It's real simple. This technology, it's very convenient. Security is inconvenient. We live in a society now that wants convenience. And if we're going to have those conveniences, we're going to have to accept some of the responsibility to take care of ourselves. We can't just leave it to these companies to do it for us. Cyber ransom, this is relatively new, but we're seeing a big surge in this. In fact, I saw a thing in mainstream media talking about this just recently. This is where a hacker gets malware onto your computer. It goes through and it identifies all your critical files, like my folders, anything with the word tax attached to it, because, right, social security numbers and so forth are on there. Drags all of them into a file and encrypts it. A little pop-up screen comes up. Do not call the police, but we've encrypted your computer. Your computer still works. You just can't get to your files. When you open them up, they're just gobbledygook because they're encrypted, right? And then send us X number of dollars. You can wire it here at Western Union or whatever it is, and you'll find that those accounts are attached to some third world country that doesn't have a treaty with the United States. That money's gone if you send it, okay? I'm here to tell you, you will not get your files back. They'll take your money, and they'll say, well, you took too long, now we want, instead of only at $500, now we want $1,000 more. And they'll milk it for as long as they can, and then they go away. They are not going to unencrypt your files. Tools and rules. All of your critical files need to be backed up on loose media, something other than what's on your computer system. Back it up onto a flash drive, a DVD, a CD, whatever it is that you have, so that your critical files are stored, and do not keep anything in the way of tax records on your hard drive. Right? You do your work, you save it to a flash drive, preferably an encrypted flash drive, at least a password-protected flash drive. Pull that out of the computer and store that in a drawer someplace where it's safe. Okay? Because that way, if they do get into your computer, it's like, okay, who cares? I'll just reload my software and we'll start over. Child and adult exploitation. I could spend a lot of time on that, but we don't have the time for it. But I think everybody kind of gets the picture there. Now, identity theft, real quick, show of hands. How many people in here know somebody who's had a credit card compromised? Take a look around, folks. Look how many hands are in the air, okay? I had my credit card compromised 4 times in 18 months. And I teach this, okay? So if they get me 4 times in 18 months, they get anybody, right? Because my computer's solid, my home network's solid, everything's solid. They got it somewhere. And it wasn't Target, it was before the Target incident, okay? And I'll talk a little bit about that too if we have some time, but anyway, if it's on paper and you don't need it, shred it. And shred it into confetti, not strips, you know, those old. Get a good shredder and turn that into little teeny tiny pieces of paper. And before you go and take it out to the recyclables, mix it up real good. Scatter it around with, you know, the dog droppings or whatever it is that you can, you know, mix it in so that it's miserable and just keep people away from it. Protect all your personal information, protect your mail. Mail theft is still a problem. We catch people still from time to time with a big old washer from Home Depot with duct tape wrapped around it, a long piece of string, and they drop it down to the blue mailbox and drop it up and down until all the letters stick to it, and they pull it out. And they'll do that 6 or 8 times in like 2 or 3 minutes. Sometimes we get a radio call on it, and by the time we get there, they're gone. Right? It's a problem. So if you are going to mail your bills or you're going to mail sensitive stuff like your tax returns and so forth, if you're not doing that electronically, take it to the post office, get out of the car, walk inside and drop it in the wall. No blue boxes, nothing. Drop it in the wall. Because at least there's surveillance cameras in most of the post offices. Protect all your passwords. Your passwords need to be in long. When I say long, at least 8 characters. They need to contain capital letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols. Now everybody's heard that, okay? But when you see where I'm going, you'll understand why I'm saying this, because I'm going to show you some examples of why that's important. But it's very important that every password for each account is different. You don't want to have the same password for each account. Because if you do, even if I just have one password, I'll try every bank in the phone book and try to get into your account. If I have your username and password, most people use the same username. Realistically, if you want to be a perfectionist, yeah, both. But you also kind of have to assess, hey, how big a target am I? Okay, I'm a target. I already know that. Because I've been doing these presentations now for almost a year, so there's got to be some high school kid back there. I bet we can get into his. I know it's happening. It's got to be happening. But you know, the bottom line is you want to have a different password for every account. And again, I'm going to show you why here in just a minute. Report all incidents. If your credit card gets compromised, if somebody uses your Visa card to buy something someplace, make sure that you report it to law enforcement. Now, here's a bit of warning. Law enforcement is a little bit behind security. And in fact, if this wall was technology and that wall was security catching up with it, law enforcement is someplace about 1.5 miles the other side of Temple Sheriff Station. Okay, I'm here to tell you, we're in the process right now of pushing information out to our field deputies. And if you look at law enforcement in general, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department is way ahead of most of the rest of them. You know, maybe with the exception of New York, because they had the towers and they got kind of a jump start on all of them. But make sure that you're at least report in and ask for a file number, not just the call number. The deputy will, how do they know? You know, but just make sure that you get a file number, because those statistics are going to help us when it comes time we got to talk to the feds about getting us some money. Card skimmers. Now we talked about the credit card theft, right? Credit cards are mostly compromised as a result of card skimmers. Target was done differently. Target was an intrusion into the system. They got in through a contractor that had access, loaded some software, it had some kind of a breach, and I don't know if it was intentional or if a hacker just knew about it and said, hey, you know, that company does business with all these major chains, we can get in. They were hacked into and they got the database. Card skimmers are different. Card skimmers are everywhere. They're in gas pumps, they're in point of sale, where you go in and you swipe your own card, those types of things, and there's hand ones. I've got some pictures here. And this is a card skimmer from inside a gas pump. That circuit board is about 1.5 inches by 3/4 inches. When we find them, they typically have the heat shrink on it or be wrapped with electrical tape. And this is what it looks like installed. Now, let me go back to the first picture. You look right here, you got the ray in, and then you've got the pigtail. This is what the back of the card reader in a gas pump looks like. You've got a little circuit board. They unplug the wire, plug in the red one, plug the wire into the pigtail. Okay, that's what it looks like. All right, this will not be found until the pump gets serviced, by the way. All right, and the bad guy doesn't have to come and pull it out of the pump because now they're Bluetooth enabled. So they pull up with their computer, link up, go inside, buy a soda, download all the information off that card, and drive off to the next gas station. And until, right? So what the gasoline industry is doing now, you'll see these little tapes, and it'll say Shell 17256 or something like that on it. Okay, those are serialized tapes that the gasoline dispensers are using now to put on the card, on the pumps. If you see it broken, don't use that pump, and go in and tell the attendant. I talked with a gas station owner. He requires his attendant to go out with the clipboard and check the numbers to verify them for each gas pump every half hour. Now, if you've noticed that gas pumps are out of service a lot more, there's these red bags over them saying out of service, that's why. They find a broken tape, they call their tech, they red bag it until the tech gets there. That's why you're seeing that. That's the gas station responding to the pressure from Visa and MasterCard, because Visa and MasterCard are losing the money behind this, and they know that the gas companies are partially responsible for it. That's what's happening. So when you ask those questions, that's the story of what's going on.
How do they get those skimmers in initially?
It takes about 15 seconds to install it, okay? There's only a few keys for gas pumps. They're all key to lock. So they go in, they open, this is literally what it looks like. We've got video of it. They open it up, they turn sideways. That's it, it's done. It's that fast. Because that circuit, as soon as you open it up, there's that green board with the plugs. Unplug, plug in, close. That's all it takes. 15 seconds and they're out, they're done. It's that fast. So it's a problem, okay? Remember I said tools and rules, right? Never hand your ATM card to anybody, and don't swipe your ATM card anywhere except the bank. And that's after you've tried to take apart the ATM machine, which I'm going to talk about in a second. These are ATM card skimmers. You buy these things online. It's not against the law to possess them unless they've got a chip in them, right? This thing slides right over the cap. So what you're looking at here is, that's the actual reader. This is the cap that goes over it. It slides over just like that. That's what it looks like installed, okay? Now, I won't put my ATM card in an ATM until somebody's called the police because I'm tampering with the machine. This is typically what it looks like when I go and pull money out of a bank ATM. I promise you I can't break that thing with my bare hands. If it comes off, it's a skimmer, okay? But here's the deal. Credit cards versus ATM cards. Federal law says that every issuer of a credit card must, within 24, 48 hours, replace the credit funds on your credit card within a certain amount of time of you reporting that it's been compromised. Hey, wait a minute, I was looking at my statement. There's 3 gasoline charges here from Florida, they're not mine. They have to put that money back in. Hey, Captain, how are you? They have to put the money back into that card account, okay? Because it's a credit card. It was issued by a creditor. That's not the case with ATM cards, okay? An ATM card, whose money is that? Right? They're not loaning you that money, that's your money. So what happens is, if it's a credit card, they put it back until they finish the investigation. If it's your card, unless you got a really nice bank that really, really loves you, I can't go 10, 12 weeks with zero balance in my account. So use credit cards, your ATM card, you protect it like it's your Social Security card, okay? I actually have 3 cards in my wallet because I'm actually trying to help the banks out. I have my ATM card, my Visa debit card, which is an ATM card, which I never use. I have my regular credit card for the big stuff, right? And I've got a throwaway card that's got a lower balance on it at my request. I have to make payments on it 3, 4 times a month sometimes, just to get the balance down to where I can use it. That way, if somebody gets a hold of it, they're only going to get $400 or $500, okay? But this is why I say you never hand your ATM card to anybody. This is a hand skimmer. They have lots and lots of legal practical uses. They are used at trade shows, swap meets, even in some stores. Anybody know what the square is? It's a little square with a card slot. You plug it into the top of your iPhone, open up your banking application, take somebody's credit card, swipe it, and it deposits money into your account right off their credit card. Lots of legal uses. They're totally, they cost like 50 bucks, I think. And then you have to set up the account. But with minor modifications, I can put a play and record button on that thing, power it, put some RAM memory in there, and make a card reader out of it, just like this one. This is a similar device, right? So this is what it would look like. You go in to get your fast food. I come, that would be $9.25, please. Thank you very much. You hand me the card, a little flip of the wrist to draw your attention to it as I reach into my pocket, pull out my hand skimmer, press record as I'm turning, swipe, drop it back into my little pocket, go over, swipe it in the machine, you won't even see it happen. I hand you your card, you walk out the door with your food, nice and happy, because you're going to eat lunch. I lean over to my counterpart, motion him over, he brings me $150 and a blank credit card, old credit card, driver's license, hotel card, key, doesn't matter, anything with a mag strip. Play, swipe, here's their card. You haven't even left the driveway yet, and they've got your credit card. It can happen that fast. So, do you want that to be a credit card or your money? Right? Now, some of the bank, I actually had someone from the banking industry come and ask me about what I was saying, and I told them, I said, hey, I also said that I carry, I basically call it my throwaway card, and that's protecting Visa and MasterCard, because the most that they'll get out of there is maybe $150, $200, because it's usually got a $200, $300 balance, and it caps out at $500 or $600. So I have to make payments on it on a regular basis. That protects the banks. I still got my big card for the big purchases, like my daughter ran over something and popped two of her tires. So I had to buy a whole set of tires. Well, that went on my regular credit card, right? So anyway, everybody understand credit card versus ATM card. Cybersecurity basics. It's pretty much the same thing. Make sure your network is secure. When I talk about your network, I'm not talking about your business network. I'm not talking about your home network. I'm talking about your whole network. Your cyber fence. Your cyber fence is only as strong as the weakest link. I teach this. My home network is secure. I promise you the one that we have at work is secure. Okay? My hotspot right there, it's encrypted and everything else, right? And after I leave here, the password's going to be changed because I don't want the captain to be able to come and spy on me. And so I know it's secure. I'm the weak link. Okay? How many of you have received that little box in the lower right-hand corner in the middle of that very important email, letter, whatever it is that you're doing that says you haven't updated your antivirus software, or Adobe has an upgrade that needs to be done. By the way, if you see that one, don't click through. Always close it and then open up Adobe and then go to their. Always open up a new box. Because there's phishing scams and that kind of stuff. But anyway, you want to make sure your whole network is secure. Your home network needs to be just as secure as your business network. Okay, and again, you have to look at how much time am I going to spend worrying about how big of a target I am. Only you can do that. You want to make sure your software is updated, that your passwords, I already talked about that, but loose media. Largest governmental hack known, bot was loaded onto flash drives. They threw the flash drives over the fence in the employee parking lot. The employees picked them up, thought that they belonged to coworkers, and plugged them in to find out who they belonged to. 5 employees uploaded the bot. The bot dials out to the hacker computer. Hacker sends his password sniffer to the computer and messes it up a little bit. They call the IT department. They type in the administrative password. Password sniffer picks it up, sends it back to the hacker. Hackers in the mainframe turned off the whole facility. We're down for 3 to 5 days. Okay? It happens. It can happen that way. So if you find a flash drive, camera SD card, DVD, CD, loose hard drive, I don't care what it is, do not plug it into a computer. Just don't. Because you don't know what's on it, and it very likely could be a hacker. Phone Wi-Fi, I want to show this video as kind of a close. If you don't know how to set up your Wi-Fi so that it will only talk to your network, when you leave the house, turn off your Wi-Fi. Just turn it off. And here's the reason why. I'll show you this real quick. Where's the sound? Here we go.
Microphone up next to the speaker.
Where's the speaker? Where's my inside? I get coming out here. There's a technologically challenged lieutenant. It's only about a 2-minute video. Let's turn that all the way.
Devices, mobile phones down below, and collecting data about at least those 3 people.
That's a hacker. He's using technology and cell phone control to grab cell phone information from people below. This technology has been used on cell phones and laptops. One day, it can be installed in a larger aircraft, think a helicopter or small planes.
And I see lots of devices. It must be people walking down the road.
He can also see your usernames, passwords, credit card information, and get this, in some cases, your home address.
was walking around the park, that's most likely their house, one of these houses here.
The tech on the drone is called Snoopy. We took Snoopy out for a spin on the streets of London.
Fly within a relative close distance of the person with the phone. And if they catch the Wi-Fi on, which most people do by experience, they work very noisily, shouting out the name of every network it's ever connected to. They'll be shouting out, Starbucks, are you there?
You can protect yourself by turning off your Wi-Fi. But if you don't, Snoopy can trick your phone and send back a signal pretending to be the network the phone is looking for. Then the drone can intercept everything the phone sends and receives.
Your phone's looking for Starbucks, and I pretend to be Starbucks. The phone connects to me, and I can see all of your traffic.
We tested it out on some dummy accounts we created.
As you can see here, he's logging into yahoo.com, so Yahoo Mail, and I created an account on Angela Smith, and there's her username, and her password is PC123, so here's Amazon, also for PayPal, so PayPal, email address, username.
And Wilkinson hacked his own Facebook account to demonstrate what that would look like.
So let's pick on my Facebook account. So I can just say fetch Facebook profile, and from there I'll do something like fetch all Facebook friends.
Wilkinson is an ethical hacker. He built the Snoopy drone to highlight insecurities in smart devices. Some of the things Snoopy can do, like steal usernames and passwords, are illegal. Experts say other features, like tracking location data, would probably not break any U.S. laws.
So technology got into the hands of criminals and bad hackers, which it may already have done. There's all kinds of things they can do. Most basic level, they can track people through through space and time.
In a world where drones fly, and tech enables them to potentially spy, it's more important than ever to protect your data. Lori Siegel, CNN Money.
Anybody see a problem with that? Now, think about this. Could I not take my jetpack, my little Wi-Fi hotspot, put it in my car at the corner of Walk and Don't Walk across from a place where I know that there's a Wi-Fi that has had their Wi-Fi open, and pretend to be whatever that company is? Starbucks, Denny's, doesn't matter, right? So you need to go in and figure out how to do your configuration settings on your Wi-Fi, and if you don't, just turn it off when you leave the house, turn it off when, see where I'm going with it? Just turn the Wi-Fi off so that it's not hooking up to public networks, because if I'm hooked up to the public network with that computer, I can capture your packets. Okay, so, and I don't have to be in your phone to read it. I can take those packets home with me and spend a few days putting those packets back together. If your banking application's open, I got your bank name, username, and password. If your email's open, I've got your bank, right? Okay, well, if you have the same password for all of your accounts, you can see where I'm going with that. Your home networks need to be secured. There's information in your router package, your instructions that'll tell you how to do it. If you just have user ability with the computer, you can figure it out. It might take you a couple hours, but set up your own system. Don't trust the 13, 14-year-old child to do it. The reason why is because they'll get it working and think they fixed it. You've still got to get in and change all the default settings. Phishing, still a problem. If you get an email from anybody, I don't care if it's your bank, I don't care if it's a shipping company, you're expecting packages at Christmas time, oh, I got stuck in a storm, click here to find, don't click through. Close the email, open up a new browser, that's the rule. Don't click through. If it's an email, don't click through. If it's from your bank, don't click through. Just open up your bank's website and go in the front door. Don't take the shortcut from the email, because that email link, this is what they look like. Here's one from B of A. You can see the little problem here. This is the login screen, and it says click here to sign in, which doesn't make any sense. You'll see these little problems. Here's one that appears to have come from American Express. It didn't. All of these came off of Sheriff's Department computers, by the way. This is one that appears to have come from a friend. But as soon as you click here to download the document, it says, hope this finds you well. Kindly view the document I uploaded for you using Google Doc. This is what you get when you click on it. Please provide your email and password, right? And confirm your password, by the way, right? And now if you've got the same password for every account, if I'm the hacker, I go into your email, change your password, change your challenge questions, change your alternate email address, and now you'll never get in, right? And while you're fighting with all of that, I'm reading all your emails to find out where you bank, where you send money, all that other kind of stuff. And if you have the same password, once again, I'm going to clean out all your bank accounts very, very quick. Mobile phone safety, I talked about that a little bit. but keep in mind that mobile phones are computers. They are not phones, they are computers, they're supercomputers. They have thousands of times the computation power of the entire room of computers that landed Neil Armstrong on the moon. The lunar lander had a 64K system. Remember the Commodore 64? Social media, burglar's best friend. Don't tell people that you're going to Hawaii. You've seen that commercial, right? Having a great time in Hawaii. Have a nice trip. The guy with the ski mask on, right? People have Facebook accounts with 500 friends. You think they're willing to give their house key to 500 friends while they're away on vacation? So you're going to tell those, you can see where I'm going. And they have friends, right? Friends of friends. There's all kinds of issues with that. Metadata is the data about the data. And this is the last thing I've got to talk about. I know I'm already over in time. Metadata is the data about the data. Every computer file has metadata attached to it. When you right mouse click a file in Windows, it'll tell you, and you go to properties, it'll tell you when the file was created, when it was last modified, all those things. That's the metadata that you're looking at. Photographs have additional metadata. It has GPS coordinates, the time that it was taken, the serial number, or the MAC address of the phone that took the photograph, right? Susie's at home, 12 years old, slumber party. Hey, we're having a blast at Susie's house, sending it out via text message, sending it via email, sending it via whatever social media sites that they're using. I promise you kids don't use Facebook anymore. They're on Instagram, Snapchat, and Vine. Make no mistake about it. So if you're looking for social media on your kids, that's what you search your computer for, okay? Because the kids are not using Facebook. They have Facebook accounts to appease us. Trust me. And let your kids know that on Snapchat, when they send the picture, and then it disappears in 3 to 5 seconds, it doesn't disappear. It's still on the phone, it's just a deleted file, it's on their phone, they send it, it's on the server for whatever service provider they're using, and it's on the server of whoever's receiving it, and it's in cyberspace, you never get it back. We've seen some celebrities kind of fall behind that, right? But this is what it does. You open up a photograph in a software package like PhotoLinker, vacationers love this, it will look at the GPS coordinates and they'll put a pin map right next to it and tell you where it is. Okay, friend of a friend of a friend, Susie's having a slumber party. She's kind of cute. Zoom in the map. Some of this GPS technology now is down to plus or minus 7 feet. So it'll put a red dot on the window that I need to climb into. And how many times have we heard kids getting snatched out of the house while their parents are home? Okay? This isn't something that can happen. Our special victims people say that it is happening across the country. So we can't take the electronic devices away from our kids. If they don't know how to use them, by the time they graduate high school, they'll be unemployable. Okay? But the fact is, we have to monitor a cell phone just like we would a computer. And if you're a parent that believes a child shouldn't have a computer in the room, then why are they running around with an unsupervised smartphone? Because a smartphone's nothing but a computer. And it'll communicate with the internet on multiple platforms. I can be reached at cyber@lasd.org. If you just send your name, just email me your name, add me to the list, and in the subject line put Temple, so I know where it came from. I'll put you on the distribution list for our cyber newsletter. And you know, some of you probably already received one because they were sending it out to area watch folks. If you haven't received it, it's probably a different email address now or something along those lines. You can send me an email there and I'll add you on. I can be reached at area code 562-347-2602. I am available to do church groups, scout troop meetings, adult leadership meetings, real estate, local real estate hubs, Lions clubs, Rotary clubs, anywhere there's an adult audience, I can be there. One of my people can be there, and we'll come out. We can talk about this. We've even got a really super one. We go about an hour and a half, and we set up projectors and do some demonstrations. It works out very well if somebody's got an hour and a half to do it. So. Questions? Yes.
I've heard nothing on the news in the last couple of days except heartbleed virus. What can you tell us about that if you know anything about it?
Heartbleed
Heartbleed
is a break in the encryption that's used on about 60 to 70% of all internet web servers. Okay, they don't know how, if it's been, you know, if the hackers have actually used it, how many hackers have used it. It allows people to get in and out without detection. It's just a hole. Everybody's very frantically patching it up. I'd be very surprised if the banking industry hasn't already patched it up. I know Google already, there was a thing this morning talking about how most of the tech companies have already patched it, okay? But, word of advice, change all your passwords for everything. Just, if you have an account, I got 43 accounts. This morning, I was up at 4:30, changing all my passwords, okay? And Next week, I'll be doing it again, because I don't know how many, right? It's been discovered, so now it's out there. We don't know if it was used, we don't know how much it was used, but now that it's out there, people are gonna try to use it. So, change all your passwords. But statistically, it's still safer to do your banking and pay your bills online than it is to send it in the mail. Yeah.
Actually, they recommend that for some sites that haven't patched their the weakness, that you should wait until they finish patching. Otherwise, your password and credentials are still visible.
Yeah, that's very possible. So, I tried to get out ahead of it. Maybe now is a good time to wait. I don't know. But, yeah, it depends upon whether or not they had that, and it also depends if somebody got in there. How long is it exposed? So, anyway, thank you very much for your time. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll hang around for a few minutes if you have any questions.
Okay, I've been using the microphone for a while unless I'm singing karaoke.
Sing a song!
He's not tonight. Okay, first of all, let's thank Lieutenant Stevens again, please, for what he did. People pay money for what this gentleman just gave us. I'm telling you right now, that's some important information. Even if you take one little thing from it, we're very lucky. I'm going to start out by introducing my team. Some members from my department and some of the other people, then we'll let my captain say a few words. Some of you I met earlier today, and thank you for coming back and putting up with us. I'm Sergeant Miranda from the Temple City Special Assignment Team. My deputies are Deputy Alvarez, Robert Alvarez right here, Deputy Kirk Cardella, Rick Adams, who everybody knows. Rick, can you raise your hand there for those who don't know you? We also have my captain. Captain, if you could raise your hand, we'll let you say a few words in a sec, Captain. He runs the ship there at Temple Station, and then there's Lieutenant Chris Marks right next to him right there. Okay, and then we have Lucy here, who's very instrumental. We'll let her say a few words, and we have Mr. Martin. I would butcher your last name if I said it, Martin. Help me. Ledwitz, there you go. And we're going to let them say a few words. Before we get started, I'm going to just tell you what we do after I let our captain say a few words to you and just address the crowd if he doesn't mind. Yes, here he comes. A very busy man. We're lucky to have him today. He runs that whole station, hundreds of employees. So thank you, Captain Neal.
Hey, thank you. Awesome. I appreciate that, but I should be the one clapping for you because it's so important to have this relationship between us and the community. And just you being here tonight shows that you care about yourselves, your neighbors, and the city of Temple City. So thank you very much. And, you know, it's an investment, some hours tonight, but it pays dividends, believe me. We need to work with you as a team. So we're going to talk about some things tonight, and it's going to show you how important it is to have input from the community, participation from the community, and looking out for each other. And I want to again thank Lieutenant Stevens. You can sit back and be pretty scared of what you just heard tonight, especially with this. And the chance of being a victim of some type of computer theft or identity theft is probably far greater than anything else you might face this day with all the technology that's out there. But it's really just being aware, and then the deputies are going to talk, and Sergeant Miranda are going to talk about some other things we need you to be aware of. So thank you very much for coming out tonight. I appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. Okay, real quick, we have a PowerPoint. That's one thing that we incorporated this year. It's changed from last year. And I want to give the guys some time. So I'm going to just tell you some of the things that our team does. You know, you have a special assignment team, but you're probably wondering, what does that mean exactly? Well, we do a lot of things from festivals, the Christmas parades, the festivals there at the park, the Camellia Festival. We organize a lot of those. We do what we call operations plans. We set up all these staff to police the streets. And in addition to the city, we block the streets, just enforce the laws there for those types of things. Some of the other things we do in addition to the festivals and all those things is we also deal with the quality of life issues. That could be everything from maybe the transients. Sometimes we notice a lot more transients in the area than usual, and a lot of times We know that can be a problem. They sleep at some of the businesses, or they come in a panhandle. Those are what we consider quality of life issues. Those are things that you would want to call and ask for the team. And there's our names. We'll give you our numbers and everything else. Actually, it's in your packet. It's in your packet there. Feel free to call us anytime for any of the issues you're starting to see more so than any other time, and we'll address those issues. And we take a lot of pride in that. We want to keep this community the great community it is. Obviously, we want to keep the home prices way up and the crime way down. That's what we're all about, and I'm pretty certain you're all with me on that one. Some of the other things we do are what we call probation parole searches, and what we do is we have approximately, I believe it's 27 parolees right now that live in Temple City. And what that means is these individuals are on parole for various crimes, from burglary to robbery or what have you. Well, we do what we call compliance checks of them. So what we'll do is we'll go knock on the door, and sometimes you may see 4 or 5 or 6 patrol deputies. It'll be us with usually a parole or probation officer, and we'll go do a compliance check with those individuals. Could be your next door neighbor. So sometimes I notice the residents kind of looking at us, what are they doing? A lot of times that's what we're doing. And we're just strictly making sure they're in compliance of their parole or probation. And it's a great thing. A lot of communities don't have these things. Trust me, we want these people to get back on track and be good citizens of society. That's what we're all about. But unfortunately, not everybody is with that. So we do catch a lot of violators. And once again, these are random checks, so it's not like we say, hey, here we come, and then they can sweep everything under the bed. We make sure that we just random checks, and if they don't let us in, they are not in compliance. So that's a great thing for the community, trust me. Obviously, we run the area watch meetings. This is one of our big things. Now, here's the unfortunate part about the area watch meetings so far. We've handed out or disseminated approximately 500 to 800 flyers. Now, look around you. How many people do we have? If we're lucky, maybe 60, correct? Our goal is to fill this room, have everybody outside even sitting, and we'll get a big old, maybe a screen, and you can watch us on the screen. We want everybody involved. The more people we get involved to help us, the better this community is going to be. If you know your neighbors, we talked about this earlier, you guys remember, if, for instance, some of these criminals, they will pull a vehicle into a driveway. They may knock at the door, nobody answers, what do? And my guys are going to talk about it. They could go around the back. But if you know that's not your neighbor's vehicle, your neighbor's out of town, those are the kind of tips we need. If I'm a patrolman driving down your block, I see a car in the driveway, I'm not going to think twice about that vehicle because I don't know if it lives there or not. That's where we all have to help each other, get involved, know your neighbors, know those little things. And like I said, you're going to love this PowerPoint because it's really, it hits home. It really hits home. Some of the other things that we do, we do what we call, work with the detectives on what we call workable cases. These cases are anything we call workable. For instance, a car is seen with a plate, a license plate. That's a good start right there. We will work with the detectives on trying to solve these cases that we have information on, and we've been very successful as a team. We've been very successful. So those are some of the things that we do. There are others. Like I said, I don't want to take up too much time. I do want Martin and I want Lucy to say a few words, and I have to tell you, those two are very instrumental, and if we could have more people like this, I'll tell you, we'd be very lucky. But I'm going to let them say a few words about what they do, then I'll let the guys go ahead and kind of enlighten you more on what I discussed briefly. Okay? Martin, are you ready?
Do you want to bring the mic back here?
Oh, yeah. I didn't know if we were going to. Thanks, sir.
Hello, I'm Martin Edwards, and I'm one of the Neighborhood Watch leaders. We have several area leaders, about 20 of us, that meet once a month to determine which way the program is going to go. We suggest things to the Sheriff's Department, they suggest things back to us. Many people show up at these meetings and say, why is there a neighborhood watch? Why am I here? You know, other than to eat Mexican food, there had to be another reason. And the answer is the ability of Temple City, both the city government and the sheriff's department, to make this a better place to live depends on you, me, and our neighbors. You're the ones that look out your window, you walk around the neighborhood, you drive your car. You see potholes, you see abandoned carts, you see graffiti. You notice that there's suspicious activity a door or two down, like a marijuana grow. You notice that there's a house where people tend to only come in late at night, and it's strange people that really don't live in your neighborhood. As the sheriff said, it's your eyes. And what do? You pick up the phone in your handout on one of the last pages of the written part. There's the numbers for graffiti hotline, cart hotline, animal control. So besides fighting crime, you can make the city a better place. Also, if you have an area of your neighborhood that's broken down, run down, the broken window policy that the city talked about, they only have 1 or 2 inspectors going around looking. If you see things that are wrong in your neighborhood, call City Hall, let them know. Okay, that's my...
I'm cutting you off. Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
I talk loud enough, I don't need the mic, thanks. I just want to remind everybody, if you did not get a chance to sign in for Neighborhood Watch, if you're not receiving the crime blotter, which is very, very good information to get, please sign in before you leave. And if any of you are interested in the CERT class, I took this class. It's very simple. You don't have to be you don't have to be good at anything. Just the knowledge you walk away with can help you save you and your family one day. And we have the earthquake going on. Caltech's forecast now for a 7.8 or above in the next 30 years. This is as of January, is at 99%. If you thought the 5.1 was bad, think of what a 7.8 will be like. So please be prepared. And 我讲中文，若是有任何人需要中文翻译的话，我等一下会待在这边，请跟我讲，我可以帮你们做翻译。谢谢。
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Martin.
Okay, real quick, I'm going to reintroduce myself. My name is Deputy Alvarez, and I'm going to start the PowerPoint. Again, before I even preface this, I want to tell you that it's a lot of information, different topics, but we're going to be talking about law enforcement information in terms of, we'll show you the topics right now. But I want to just preface this by saying you are the eyes and ears of this community. You're an extension of the law enforcement. Without your help, it's a collaboration between us as law enforcement and the community to help make a better community. And you're going to get a bunch of information that's going to empower you to be that person, okay? So again, the discussion topics I'm going to talk about, there's basically 4. There's going to be burglaries, which encompasses residential and vehicle. The second topic is going to be thefts. It's going to be either mail, bikes, and unlocked vehicles. Third topic, personal safety. We'll go into that. That's a big realm of information. And the last topic is going to be protocol for the Temple Station in terms of calls. What to do, how to make the calls, and all the information encompasses in that. Okay, residential and vehicle burglars. What are the trends? Okay, there's basically a lot of trends. Suspects do a lot of different, have a lot of ideas how to get into your house, how to steal your property. But a lot of the main trends that they're having in the communities is what they call distraction burglaries. Okay, and this is basically concentration on the elderly individuals, homeowners. What they do is suspects go into vehicles with multiple suspects, they knock on your door, specifically elderly, and they go and they say, hey, there's a water pipe broken. There's water going all over the street. Can we check your water inside your residence to make sure everything's okay? Again, this person's, going to let them in the residence because they're very concerned. They're going to go into the residence, they're going to lead into the kitchen, and as they're doing that, they're going to take their concentration off the front door, and again, they go with multiple suspects, they go in your house, and as they're showing them the pipes, and they're distracting you, they're showing us, hey, your pipe's leaking, your residence might be flooded, your property, and there's a lot of damage. They go into the house and steal all your property. They go in there, they ransack your house, they go in your rooms, they go and get your jewelry, your property, your credit card, your identification, and this piggybacks on the first topic about identity theft. Once they get your information, your name, accounts, and all that, again, they steal your property. Okay, those are distraction burglaries. There's other multiple distraction burglaries in terms of when you park your vehicle. You know, you lock your vehicle, you have keys in your hand, they might go up to you and say, hey, I need help, can you give me some money? I hold your property while you look for your money, they grab your keys, they might toss it to their conspirators on the side, they can go open your car while they're talking to you and take your stuff. There's a lot of different variations of what they could do to get into your house, your car, to steal your property. Okay. Prevention-wise, there's a whole realm of prevention. But again, prevention is basically common sense. You go in your house, you leave your house, lock your door. Make sure all your windows are shut, locked. It's kind of an old-fashioned trend, but contact your neighbors. Okay? Your neighbors know your community more than we do, more than your neighbors on the other side of the block. If you're going to leave for a long period of time, tell your neighbor, hey, I'm going to leave for a week, or I'm going to go shopping, and keep an eye on the house. Because again, individuals that want to go into your house, burglarize your home, and steal your property, they're going to do by any means, okay? They know your trends. If you leave the house at 6 o'clock every morning, guess what? They're looking at you. They're making sure that you're leaving every day at 6 o'clock in the morning, because they have all the time in the world to conspire stealing your property or do a residential burg, and when they see you leave, guess what? They're going to go into your house. If you don't lock your doors, lock your windows, or make sure your home is not secure, they're going to get in, okay? A dog. You might have a dog. You know, you can have a big dog, small dog. It doesn't really matter. As long as it's making a lot of noise. The suspects hate being noticed, okay? Cut your shrubs, your trees. Move your car off the parking lot. When you leave at night, turn your lights on. You know, set your alarm. If you have an alarm, set it. And a lot of times you go to residential burglary reports, and I say, hey, when you left your house, what'd you do? Well, I left the house. I shut the door. Do you have an alarm? Yeah. Did you set the alarm? No, I forgot. Okay, if you're paying for a product, use it. It's a tool that helps you. It's a deterrent. Because again, the more deterrents you have to saving your property and deterring them to go inside your house and taking your stuff, it's another obstacle they have to jump through to get your property. Okay. Another prevention is, again, you guys got to go together as a community. Without communication, contact us at the Sheriff's Department. It's a resource. What do? We provide service to the community. If you're going to leave for a long duration of time, Deputy Adams gets calls all the time. Go on vacation for a month. Keep an eye on my property, my home. I live at this address. We'll do a patrol track. Go around the community. Make sure you're safe. We're 365 days agency. So that means we have day shift, PM shift, early morning shift. So your house will be always looked at. We're not there to kind of just keep an eye on your house, but when we patrol the area, if someone is going to be in the area to commit a crime, they see a black and white, kind of scares them off, right? But we're constantly doing that every shift. I'm not saying your house is 100% safe, because there's nothing 100%, but it's a deterrent, okay? Interview. We're going to have an interview with this individual right now. It's a video.
A couple videos we're going to have. We're going to show you some of the vehicle burglary stuff on how easy and how quick this can happen. It's going to be a low volume, sorry about that, because of the tiny, tiny little speaker. But this is just a very easy way. This is just a very easy way on how this gentleman's going to demonstrate how he can break your vehicle window in seconds.
And that's just a spark plug, right?
Yeah.
Get ceramic. Throw in glass. It's that simple.
Yeah, that's.
Jillian's supposed to be our expert when it comes to technology, but I don't know.
Hey, I like to see you try.
Yeah, that's why you're the expert. All right, don't get sassy, birthday girl.
What did he use?
That's just a window punch. And all it is a little piece of metal, and they just force it.
Yeah, but I don't understand something. My husband has a truck, and he has an alarm. You're not showing a car without alarm.
Basically what this is just a part of how they get into your vehicle. Because again, burglars, vehicle burglars, they'll go, they know how to disengage an alarm. They go underneath, they cut the wires. But this is showing how fast they can get in the vehicle.
Yeah, that I understand, but my husband's truck almost got broken into twice. But, it's hard to explain what I'm trying to say. But if he could do that, can he break into an alarm too, the truck?
All right, well, some of this, like the ceramic, okay, the ceramic itself is just a spark plug. You can get a spark plug that you have. We have somebody else that has no idea what that is. It does not like me getting close to it. Okay, right here. But that is just a spark plug, that ceramic. So if you have an old one sitting from a lawnmower or whatever, all you do is hit it with a hammer, and those little pieces are what's going to do it. If you do have an alarm on your car, then maybe this will get to where it's at. That's not going to vibrate, shake, or make a big push on your car to activate that alarm. Okay, so all I'm going to do real quickly is smash that glass and grab exactly what's on that seat. All I have to do is throw it like the gentleman did, let it break, kind of push it out, and just reach inside. Never once touching your car and making that activation on your alarm. Okay, the hole punch 2 itself is just radiates. When it hits real hard, it's going to radiate through the glass. So it may not switch that alarm as well either. And the thing is these things here were not invented for crime. Probably a lot of this one, maybe this one itself was invented in case somebody needs to get into a vehicle quickly. We're getting called out, someone's trapped in a car, people come up with these ideas. Criminals have nothing but all day to think about how we can use these good ideas and turn them into ways that we can help our enterprise.
But something to think about when it comes to your cars and car alarms. And a lot of the information we're giving you tonight, just to remind you, it's in your packets. Okay, so your prevention, they're just little bullets to read, nice and simple. But with your car, even with an alarm, we talked about this, I was here earlier talking to some folks today, and some of them are in the room right now. You hear a car alarm, what do? Nothing. Do any of us actually listen or look around? You ignore it because it's so common. So don't have that false sense of security with a car alarm. A home alarm is a little different, but make sure that when you leave your car in your driveway or outside anywhere, make sure it's locked, because we're having a lot of cars that people leave them unlocked, and these people that go around at night on bikes looking for victims.
That's what it was.
Right. They'll go into unlocked cars, and a lot of times they'll use these tools to break the windows or force their way in. If you leave bags in a car with maybe nothing in the bags, maybe a shirt, maybe a piece of clothing you don't even care about, the bad guy doesn't know that there's nothing in there. And now you're out a couple $100 for the window because your insurance, unless you got a great deductible, like a very low one, you got to pay that, right? So just be aware of what you're doing. Don't leave anything in your car in plain view whatsoever. Change, and out in plain view, you don't want to do that. That's what you need to do, is take those precautions so that hopefully you won't be the victim.
And that's true. The alarms, everyone I know in the early 80s when they all came out, everybody had to get a cool alarm so it hit. Well, they got hip to it too, so they would hit your alarm, they go hide, come out, check, everything's fine, you turn it, disengage it, turn it back on, you go inside, they come in, hit the car again, so it goes off, and after a while you're thinking, this thing's not working, and you leave it off. So they're figuring these things out. I know I have an alarm, most cars nowadays have some kind of an alarm, but it's just, if we're going to use it for what it's worth, if it does go off, go out and see it. A lot of times I was like, oh man, that guy's alarm goes off every day, doesn't he turn the thing off? Because we get, it's annoying, right? Same thing with the home prevention for these things, vehicle thefts and residential. Ladies, please, don't think everyone doesn't know you put your purses behind the back seat of your car when you get out in the back. They do. And also, they know you put them in the trunks. Because when you pull into these shopping centers, the mall, anywhere, they've got nothing but time on their hand. They will just sit in their cars and watch. They will see that, hey, it's ladies' day. 3 came out of the car. They're all going. They're putting their purse in the trunks. Awesome. Some cars now you can hit the left brake or the brake lights and reach inside after you brake them and pull the release on the trunk. Boom, they're gone. And they go in, take your purses and stuff and leave. If you need to go, and I know my wife does this, she's got a huge, big purse this big, and I could probably fit 2 5-foot sandwiches and everything in it with my kids. Just take a little metal container. They have those ones now, credit card holders, So these things like the swipers and things, when people walk by you, they can't pick up your information. Put them in a little card. I know my wife doesn't need the checkbook, 3 credit cards, and every other gas card and everything else that we have just to go get a pair of shoes at the mall. But you can take those little things and go and do that, and that helps you out. because it sits here in your pocket. And that little metal case will keep them from being able to take your information. So that's a way to do that. But please think about it. Anything you want, don't leave it out that someone can see it. If they can see it, they're going to want it. Residential, things of that nature, your hedges, your bushes. And we're going to show a video in a second here, which is going to kind of reinforce this, because it's just not us telling you this. This is what the criminals are looking for. You know, if you have a big hedge in front of your house or big trees in your windows, and it's just a little bit of space, you know, so you can reach back there and do stuff. They look for this because that's where they want to hide, behind your trees, by your windows. They're looking for all the things that help them be concealed while they're trying to break into your home. So the video here is going to show you that. I don't know if we're going to hear this that well. I'm not getting close. This thing's going to squeal at me. But this guy here is going to tell you what he does and how he does it and what he looks for when he's out there looking to steal. Yes?
Just a technical question. Is the volume turned up all the way on the laptop?
It is turned up all the way. I did verify that, and I apologize because when we actually contacted the church, we asked for the PA system. We didn't realize it was just going to be one little speaker, so I apologize. And with Mark's video, it was very hard to hear. We can touch on it. I think if this is as loud as the others, we should be okay. The other two that you just saw that we had. If not, we can kind of tell you what's going on with that as well. So, all right, come on, technological expert over there.
If you point the speaker to different directions, so the microphone won't pick up. You won't hear the hum.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, point the speaker.
Big tall wooden fences, you know, like people have around the house, around swimming pools, or, cover. When I say cover, anything that I can get up close to the house and hide, where somebody can't just maybe look out their window, the next door neighbor look out and say, well, somebody knows. After I look for the plants in people's yard, how they take care of the yards, toys is very important, because it depends on what kind of thief I am. If I'm looking for guns, or if I'm looking for jewelry, if I'm looking for this or that, and me myself, I was a jewel thief, and women have the jewels.
Yeah, they do.
And if I see a bunch of toys in the yard, then I know it's a woman live there. Then I look at if the house has an alarm. After I make sure the house got cover, I make sure the house got an alarm or doesn't have an alarm, you know. But all that's nothing if I don't look at the next door neighbor's house too, on both sides. If there's houses on both sides of this house that I'm checking out to break into, I gotta make sure the neighbor's houses are secure too. And not only that don't mean that the neighbors doesn't have to be home, because I don't care if the neighbors is at home. I look for the neighbors because neighbors are nosy, you know. If I ride through your neighborhood and you see me and two more black guys, you're gonna automatically call police because we look suspicious. But if I'm by myself and I'm walking through a neighborhood and I got a rake thrown over my shoulder and plastic bags hanging out my back pocket and a pair of gloves hanging out my back pocket, well, you think I'm somebody's yard man. Well, it isn't the case, it's just a disguise, you know, it's just something I do to make me look to fit in more. Yes, you always knock on everybody's door. I can look at a house and tell you if somebody's home or not, but I'm still going to knock on your door to make sure you're not home. Because I have been in houses with people in their sleep. And when I go in the house and people in their sleep, they never wake up. I turn around and I leave. I walk back out and I don't take anything. I'm not on the door to avoid any confrontations. Because if I go in your house, I don't want you to be home. I think I've broken maybe 2 or 3 houses in the night. I've never broken in houses at night just because of the fact people come home at night. In the daytime, when you break in houses at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, you know, people's at work. And I never break into a house close around lunchtime because people come home for lunch sometimes. And usually when they start getting close to lunch, I don't break in the houses. But anywhere from 8 on up to 11 o'clock, that's the time.
Okay, so this guy, hopefully, kind of made you think. They think about everything. You know, your neighbor's yards, if yours has a lot of, like I said, trees and things blocking your windows, they're looking at your neighbors too. Because if they're going to look out, they're not going to see anything if they've got bushes and things in front of theirs. So these guys are very methodical in what they think of. They may not be the smartest person in the world, but they're smart enough when it comes to want to do their crime and not get caught. Doesn't mean they always don't get caught. We do catch them here and there, and sometimes we get lucky to catch them as it's going on. But like this gentleman says, it doesn't matter if you're home or not home. They do look to see if someone's there or not, and they always knock. Okay, and that's the thing going on, like my partner said, this distraction burglary thing. A lot of them do that. They work in concert. They knock on your front door. They don't hear anything. Next person's in your backyard. He's looking for a window to get in. I know it's getting very hot right now. A lot of people like to leave the windows open and things of that nature. I know. I grew up here. I know it's a safe city. You know, that's why I have a kind of a good passion to do what I do here. Work on this team and try to make it as safe as it can be for everybody else's family. And it is a great city because, you know what? Yeah, we left windows open every day when I was growing up. Because we did. So some of it is not that we're getting lax, but it's just the community we grew up in and things that we do. But now, unfortunately, people are taking advantage of that and what we do. We leave the front door open. I know my wife's grandfather never locked his door. Never did. It was open 24 hours a day, unlocked. You could walk on in. His idea was, well, if you're coming in, you're going to get in anyway. Probably see him sitting on his couch watching TV. But we grew up this way. We know it is a great city, but now we have to start protecting ourselves. Okay, that's the good thing about it. Like my partner went and said, everyone here knows who's on your street, who lives next to you, the person in front. Oh, you should know all the cars. Car pulls in someone's driveway that you do not know. Call us, please. You're not bothering us. Anybody who calls us, you're not bothering us. Okay? Call us, let us know. Hey, my neighbors are gone for the weekend. This car just pulled up. 3 guys got out. I don't know what ethnicity they are, but they got out and now they look like they're in their backyard. We want you to call us on that. Guys parked down the street that look shady, that you can't tell why they're even there, but that car's never been on your street. Call us for that. What some of these guys look like, these gentlemen, I was going to pass that one a little too far on it, but I'll go with it right now. These criminals, okay, 30, 35-year-old guy riding a kid's bike down your street in the middle of the day between 10 and 12. There should be no reason why. Why wouldn't he be driving a car? Because he has no money, he has no job, things of that nature. He drives pretty ratty. They don't look that cleanly. These are the guys that we want you to call us on so we can go and contact them and figure out, why are you even here? What are you doing? They may just be coming up and down the streets, casing the area just to see who's home and who's not. Some of the thefts that we have, like we spoke, unlocked vehicles, it's huge right now. Okay? You know, like I said, we all live in this area. It's a great place. Lock your vehicles. We pass out these flyers and we walk down one house, the last one. The guy had a nice Mercedes-Benz in his yard. He had his wallet in the center console, windows rolled down, his cell phone was in there, and I couldn't count the 20s that were sitting in his wallet that were popping out. If I was a thief, I would have been so happy just seeing this guy. I might have even left him the 20 just to be nice. Because it was so good.
Take the car and the money.
He had everything in there that a thief would just love to be able to do. Reach in, grab it, walk away, no one even know he's there. Okay, so please lock your vehicle. Mail, I know like Lieutenant said, mail theft, very big. We also have the UPS type stuff. If you order something and it's going to be delivered, make sure someone's home. Okay, to pick up the package. I know sometimes, hey, we have to go places, do things, and we'll be back in 20 minutes and maybe it'll be here or not. And we get back, maybe it got dropped off, it's gone. These guys will follow around your postal places, you know, UPS and things to see what they drop off. They don't even know what's in the box. It's like Christmas when they take them off your porch. They don't know what they get until they open it up. And they follow it. We actually had one of those 3 months ago. They followed someone around in the city and they caught him over here in the San Gabriel area. And they had about 4 or 5 boxes from different people's homes in the area. Okay, and that just happened to be a unit that was out here watching somebody else's house for something else. Saw this happen while they were waiting, looking over here. They got their attention drawn and saw that. And then they went to this and they caught this little ring that was going around. to the San Gabriel Valley. So it goes on all the time. Bikes are huge. A lot of people steal bikes. And a lot of it is our narcotics users and our transient guys. Because they go and they steal the bikes and now they have mobility to move around. And they also sell them.
If you've got a bike that's a nice bike, write the serial number down, because if it does get stolen, we can enter the bike and the system. That way, if we stop one of these guys, late at night or even during the afternoon riding around, we run that serial number to find out the bike was stolen. We now can arrest them for being in possession of the stolen bike. We may not prove that they're the ones that took it, but at least we can take them to jail. So it's just a simple little tool. This takes you a second to write that number down and keep it in a file somewhere, should you ever lose your bike. Something to think about.
About mail.
Yes.
We have swap mail, and it's constantly sticking out.
They wrap the bills in regular mail and the flyers and stick it halfway out. And I've gone to the post office and mentioned it, but we get so many different carriers. They need to train them to take the mail and throw that in. I don't care about the flyers.
Yeah, leave the flyers last.
Because
That's
what
definitely
if
a
a
no.
credit card is being mailed to you and it's wrapped up hanging out?
Well, yeah, even if it's not even a card, it's just the application.
Well, right,
I can put your name and a whole bunch of other information.
Exactly.
Where I have it.
I tried to call, I went down, I gave up.
It might even be worth trying to get a hold of whoever the postmaster.
Yeah, I went there and I.
For them as well to see, and then continually, if
Go
it's
up
not
the
just you,
ladder.
but everyone, all
Go
of
up the
the
ladder.
Make it a really big issue as to
A
what's
lot of
going on.
us have this type of slots that are right on.
Right on the house.
But make sure though also that if you're paying bills and you're mailing, take the time to just take them to the post office, because we still see a lot of people leaving their bills, in the mailbox, and we have people that drive around looking for just that, and that you don't want, because you've got a check there with your account, your name, your account number, and everything else. So just something to think about. Yes, sir.
It's not that difficult to change boxes. Talk to your landlord. It's just a matter of screws.
No, it's not a mailbox, it's a slot that goes right into the house, it's on the wall.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a
door slot.
Yeah, it's on the wall right by the door, so they put the bills and the flyers, wrap it up and stick it hanging.
And have a landlord invest $4 or $5 into something to put on the wall outside that has a lid to it. So,
Yeah, look, we're just trying to give you tools of things you can do,
Yeah.
and you may be in a situation where there's nothing you can really do about that. The postmaster, like Kirk said, is a great tool, and if you and then go above that person if you need to get what it is you need.
In the last maybe 3 or 4 years, because I've been here 30.
Okay.
Something changed, but they always would put the mail in the slot and the flyers either on the porch or hanging, which is.
And that's the thing, the mail, be very cautious of that if you can, like my partner said, if they get your stuff and you have a check in it, they come what they call wash and check.
Absolutely.
Try to get the ink off real quick.
Absolutely.
You've got all your stuff on it, you write it to themselves, and next thing you know, that check that was paying your bills doesn't get paid, and then next thing you get delinquent notice, and you're thinking, how did this happen? I just paid it. Okay? The packages, the UPS one, which I was talking about, you need to be careful of that. Another thing, just on a side note real quick, if you guys don't do it, I know if I went to my house, I probably wouldn't know all of them. Your high item equipment that you have, like TVs and things like that, the serial numbers, like my partner Rick stated, that are very good for us when we catch these guys, when they have all these nice high item stuff, computers, laptops, iPads.
Yeah.
We don't always have the serial numbers. So when we come in and you say, hey, yes, this, and this, great, do you have the serial numbers? No, I don't. I had them, I don't know where they're at. So we catch these guys and they have a lot of stuff and we know it has to be stolen. We run those numbers in the system and we get nothing back. I know I probably don't have a list of all of mine on everything that I do have, but it's just something to think about you might want to do. Okay?
And make multiple copies, don't just rely on one copy. Keep them in different rooms, keep them in the study, keep them in different locations, keep one at work.
And the reason why is when you get the serial number, it's inside what they call the automated property system, is when we find that property, we run it, your name comes up, and you're going to get your property back. But the chances of you getting your property back with no serial number, I don't care if they find all your items, it's just a black TV, a black laptop, who does it belong to? You can make a report, constantly every time they steal one of your items. But again, that's just vital. Because again, 5 years, 2 years, 6 months, we do stop these individuals who are doing crimes around the area, it's in the trunk, or it's on this person, obviously that person is going to be arrested. But we're going to go knock on your door, or make a phone call and say, hey, you want a black laptop, this is your number, it's on the property. And how great is that? Because the simple fact you wrote a number down, you give it to us, and you have a report. So it's real simple.
I have something to say. It's totally different than anything else. We have 2 transients on Noel, and last night I saw him back again. He's been sleeping on somebody's yard, and my neighbor saw him. What?
Shoot me an email, and we'll deal with it. Yeah, don't shoot me.
I know it's very inviting.
Yeah. On the package, and look, just so you guys know, I know you have a lot of questions, and that's great. And we'll stick around afterward to answer questions for you. But if you've got a quality of life issue or a concern or transients, my email, Rick Adams, my email address is there. Shoot me an email, or if you have to, call me. But email's easier because I can print that up. I can send it to other people. We'll go by and handle the problem for you. Not to worry about it. Okay? We deal with transients and criminals all the time, so that won't be a problem.
Real quick.